And the crazy thing about his story is that we've helped him save 270,000 USD in terms of transaction fees and operational costs.
Do you work with Americans?
Definitely yes, both for business and for personal accounts.
How would you help people from Pakistan? My friends from Pakistan who just can't get bank accounts open. Obviously, we have the US options and we can get different addresses or different people or whatever. I make videos about that. But what would you recommend for a guy from Pakistan who's doing $1 million a year? They have a decent business and they don't want any accounts in the US. Where would you send them?
What many people don't know.
If you're an international entrepreneur, you know that having a bank account that works where you can receive money and you can get paid is super important to running a business. If you can't get paid and you don't have a bank account, it's extremely difficult to make money, to keep your money, and to keep your money safe. And as you know, if you've been following my channel, I'm a CPA in the US and I've been helping my clients open US companies, open US bank accounts, and get everything set up in the US. But today, I have a guest from Globo Banks who is a company I've been talking to, and we've been like discussing different options and things for clients, and they help people from restricted countries, people from all over the world open bank accounts in other countries outside the US, open certain restricted fancy credit cards in different countries, and just have a lot of different stuff outside the US that they can offer. And I'm excited to have Kiara here from Global Banks, and we're going to ask some questions to talk about how they help their clients and just get through all of it. So thanks for being here. Nice to meet you, Kiara.
Thank you, James. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the
Yes.
introduction.
Yes, wonderful. And I'm going to just keep moving quick as everyone, if you've seen my channel before, we like to keep these videos pretty concise and informative so you don't have to sit all day watching people talk about bank accounts. So um, first, I'm going to ask about what are some of the common banking services that you provide? How are you helping clients? Like, what are the common clients you're helping, and what kind of bank accounts are you opening? Are you helping like Dutch people open accounts in Spain? Like, tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing and how you're helping your clients.
Yeah. So, thanks to our team of over 30 people, we're fully able to support international clients find the best global solutions for their operations. What we strongly focus on is opening business bank accounts, whether that's, for example, for LLCs that are owned by non residents, also outside the US. So, with IBAN SEPA, that has several benefits. So if you or your company deals with European clients, suppliers, marketplaces, or a European bank account, that definitely simplifies operations in terms of faster payments within the SEPA zone, avoiding those high fees and delays that are tied to the international wire transfers from the US, and then allow you to get paid in euros locally. So, for example, a US based e commerce business that's selling in Germany, you can get paid much faster with lower conversion and costs using a European bank account. We do also support personal accounts. So we not only work with businesses, but also with private clients. Opening a personal bank account, for example, in Europe, that has many benefits, for example, in jurisdictions like Switzerland or Luxembourg, especially for high net worth individuals or professionals, that has many benefits in terms of asset protection, diversification. Currency diversification is also something that becomes beneficial for, and accessing the European investment products that can help you diversify your portfolio and grow your wealth in that sense.
Tell me a story about one of the last clients that you just worked with, like his situation. Obviously vague, like he's from here, we opened accounts here. Tell me about like one of the last clients that comes to mind that you worked with so we can hear about their situation and why they opened the accounts.
So we had one client, actually, crazy story. They have a company working international. The company is registered in Hong Kong, and they work international, very high transactional volumes, and that often without a previous like banking experience. That often translates to very high maintenance costs and costs in terms of transaction fees. So he came to us because he wanted to kind of optimize his banking situation for his company and also for his on his personal side. And the crazy thing about his story is that we've helped him save 270,000 USD in terms of transaction fees and operational costs.
Where did you open his account? What jurisdiction did you pick?
So we've picked locally in Hong Kong as well, but at a bank where we, as official introducers, because we have exclusive relationships as well as introduction contracts with the over 60 banks that we work with, we're able to make people access these bank accounts with lower deposit, for example, lower opening fees, lower maintenance fees. With some banks in Switzerland, also we're able to lower drastically these minimum deposits. So even by like 10 times. So if the minimum deposit is, for example, 1 million, if you go to the bank, you knock at their door and you say, hey, I would like to open an account. I have 1 million USD or I have 500,000, they might say no, even though you're going there in person. And what we can do, thanks to the relationships we've built, is make you get accepted even with a lower deposit. So you're able to still access these extremely exclusive and premium bank accounts with discounted fees. And you're able to go through the whole process completely remotely and with faster onboarding.
Wonderful. Do you work with that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Do you work with Americans? I'm sure you do work with Americans, but do you find a lot of Americans who are like, I'm moving offshore, I want a bank outside the US, and do you help them open like personal and business accounts in different jurisdictions? I'm sure you do that too.
Definitely, yes. Or we definitely do that both for business and for personal accounts, also in jurisdictions that kind of have a historical fight, let's say, going on with the US. If we think about Switzerland, for example, we work with certain banks that, thanks to our introduction, we are able to have them accept also US residents and US citizens access those kinds of accounts that are called like private banking accounts. So where you have like dedicated assistance from a relationship manager that speaks your language and not just maybe like German or Italian or those languages you have in Switzerland. They also speak Spanish for anyone that kind of has another type of residency. So that's another advantage that you get by working with us, is getting dedicated relationship managers that in most cases are able to speak your language and so can provide tailored support for your needs.
That's great. I know when in like the 2010s when FATCA came out, it really was a huge mess with the Swiss banks because a lot of Americans were basically tax avoiding their money over there, just hiding their money and investing in Swiss banks and not paying tax on it. It was a huge mess, and I think it was a lot of issues for the Swiss banks there. So I can see that they have some hesitation working with Americans. It's hard for Americans to open accounts abroad because of FATCA. Because when an American has an account abroad, that bank is basically forced by their government's agreement with the U.S. to share information of all accounts owned by U.S. citizens and I guess green card holders to the U.S. government. So there's no opposite agreement that I'm aware of, at least in effect, where U.S. banks share information with foreign countries. But if you're a citizen, the FATCA is it's a crazy situation that exists, and it sounds like you're able to like kind of have the banks deal with Americans and deal with FATCA even if they don't want to, just based on introductions. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's because most banks, especially on the Swiss side, they really operate in terms of like trust and relationship that they've built. And thanks to the fact that we've introduced so many clients over the years, and so we've kind of built this relationship, and then later on also like real introduction contracts where we can guarantee these types of benefits and introductions where otherwise, I mean, it would just take you, I mean, traveling to Europe, which is great. You should definitely come and visit, but maybe you're busy managing your business, you're busy laying at the beach, and you don't
Well,
really
you still
want
have to know what bank to go to, and you still have to make an appointment. And usually people that are opening. If I'm gonna go and fly to Switzerland and open an account, I'd rather just pay a company help me figure it out and do it for me. I mean, that's generally the clientele you're working with, anyways, right? They don't want to deal with it, or they want to make it more efficient, and I would do the same thing.
No, absolutely. But what I was mentioning with that is that even if you know the name of the bank, so you would kind of go there knowing that's the bank for you, or paying a company that does that for you. We are able to do that completely remotely for you. So because some banks still require you visiting the branch, which can be a great experience just to build that extra level of trust also for yourself as a client. But if you want to avoid that, we're able to avoid that 100% of the times. We're able to even, we have partnerships also with over 38 companies and professionals, accountants that can do the bureaucracy for you in certain jurisdictions where they would still require kind of like more of a personal visit. So you don't have to worry about anything. You can just come in contact with us. We find the best solution or solutions, because many times clients need more than just one bank account. What we see with our sales team is that many people come in saying, I want the Amex or I want this European bank. And then what we find out talking with them in the free consultation that we always offer is that they might not only need that one thing, but there might be this other thing that's really interesting for them that they didn't know about. So that's
Yeah, yeah, and I guess it's really there's a lot of different reasons to want offshore accounts, but especially in Europe, if you're just selling a lot into Europe, I guess you have people that can help with sales taxes or local stuff there that maybe. So I'm waffling a little bit. So you can open European accounts or foreign accounts for U.S. LLCs too.
absolutely, yes. That's actually, I would say, one of our strongest products and the thing we mostly focus on. US LLCs that are owned by non residents, but residents is also fine, that operate with Europe, so have European clients or operations in Europe, and therefore are looking to open a bank over here, for the advantages that I was mentioning. So faster payments, lower commission fees, avoiding all the delays that are tied to the wire transfers from the US and the currency as well. So we're able to open multi-currency accounts. So whether that's euro or we also have pounds or Swiss francs here in
But
Europe.
that's at real banks, at like actual banks, right?
It can be, we both work with actual banks or also fintech solutions. It really depends on your needs. So that's why we
Yeah, we
kind of.
because I work with a lot of clients. Technically, if you open like a Swiss bank account with your LLC, you have to file a foreign bank account report for that LLC. Generally, when clients have like a Wise account and they have like a pounds account or a euro account out of their Wise or their Airwall X account, we're not filing the foreign bank account reports because it's really within an institution licensed in the U.S. So it's a little bit of a back and forth. But if you had an actual LLC with a bank account in another country at a formal bank, technically you would have to file the foreign bank account report, which is something I don't really do that often because I don't see it as much. With most of our clients, we're opening, U.S. fintech accounts, U.S. bank accounts. We're giving addresses to make it easier for them. We're opening up Wise accounts to use multi currencies. But I see a lot of benefit with potentially having local accounts as well, especially if you're in that place. I also see well, do you ever face any issues with people who, let's say, you have a German guy who has not German. Let's use like a French guy who has an LLC. You wouldn't help him open accounts in France because he doesn't want to pay taxes in France or he wants to be sneaky with France. Usually, he would open an account in like a Germany or like a Switzerland or something instead, right? Is that how you would see it?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what the client wants and prefers. We definitely have some people that are looking for banks that are kind of close to them, so they wouldn't like to go that far. But in majority of cases, yes, that's definitely the case that applies. And instead of opening maybe like a Wise account here in Europe, where a lot of clients we've had have had struggles with the assistance of Wise, thanks to the banks that we have and the dedicated relationship managers, we can provide them within the bank. They can be assured that everything will be managed best. So that's
Yeah, we've had issues with the Wise stuff as well, but it's been helpful. We have good addresses, and that's been helpful getting our clients almost always approved at Wise and getting those accounts open. I know I make a lot of videos about Wise. They do really well. I'm trying to share information. I'm not trying to be clickbaity, but I'm trying to just like find solutions for clients. That's why I have you on here. Now, I want to transition to another question about restricted countries. How would you help people from Pakistan? My friends from Pakistan who just can't get bank accounts open. Obviously, we have the U.S. options, and we can get different addresses or different people or whatever. I make videos about that. But how would you what would you recommend for a guy from Pakistan who is doing $1 million a year? They have a decent business, and don't want any accounts in the U.S. Where would you send them?
So like I was mentioning, thanks to the relationships that we have, also certain countries that are usually not as well seen. Of course, where there are legal requirements. So, for example, like countries that are like, Russia or Iran, where there's, legal and kind of political things going on. That's, of course, if it goes against the bank's policy, that's not something we can help with, just to be completely transparent. But there are some countries like Pakistan that you were mentioning, where there's not really like a political situation or anything that would speak against it. It's just that majority of banks kind of see it as a more like riskier country and jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And so, again, thanks to the fact that we introduce and refer the clients to the bank personally, to the bank's director that we have contacts with, or the account managers, they trust us, and so they trust the clients that we bring to them. So definitely Switzerland could be a great option for someone from Pakistan. If they want to open an account, they can access like great benefits, benefit also from discounted opening fees, minimum deposit. Instead of depositing their whole million, they can do that. Of course, they can make that grow. The bank, of course, appreciates, but they can also access those types of accounts with a lower minimum deposit if that's something they're looking for.
What banks would you say Swiss banks are best for holding and investing and not as good for operational businesses? Like I know um, some banks are harder to get in and send wires. Some banks are harder to access, but they're also maybe have better returns. What countries do you see have the banks that are most common for operating businesses?
Banks for operating businesses, what we've seen is like a great development. That development in past few years has definitely been like Northern Europe. So whether we're talking, for example, about Finland or Estonia, those kinds of countries that are kind of going a bit unseen, but they're really developing like great banking systems that are extremely reliable, that have dedicated assistants, and so they can offer great operational business accounts and solution in that sense. Also, a great option could be the United Kingdom. If we're talking about Europe, so the United Kingdom is extremely strong for operational business accounts.
In terms of like historical stability, like the U.S. banks is, I mean, the world's running on U.S. dollars still. The government guarantees the money at the U.S. banks. That's a great option. But like another great option in terms of stability is some of these, like you said, Finland, the U.K. Like they have really, really old banks, really established banks. And it's a Estonia is a one I've heard of too. I've heard of people having good success with Estonia and having like debit cards they can use and a lot of access on moving around money there. So as like an ancillary alternative. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that. I wanted to um, jump into another thing we talked about in our last conversation. You have this cool you have this program for getting the Amex Black Card. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but the Amex, everyone wants their American Express card. They get their points. I help clients all the time get their ITINs, get the addresses, build the credit, apply for the Amex cards. The Gold Card is one of the best ones if you're running a ton of ads. I think the ad people spending a ton of money know that, and we try and help clients do that. How do you help clients get this Amex Black Card, which is the most coveted of American Express cards?
Yeah, that card, the status symbol that's associated with that card is absolutely unmatched. What many people don't know is that, of course, when you think about Amex, you think about the American one, but actually, there's many countries that offer the Amex. If we're talking about the Amex Black Card, there's many countries that are issuing that same card, sometimes even with greater benefits than compared to the American one. It's just that many people kind of just blindly follow this prestige thing and directly immediately think about the American one. But for many cases, it can be beneficial to access the Amex Black from other countries. With our company, we can help people that have a minimum deposit of 1 million, either euros, USD, or Swiss francs. That's kind of the requirement to access this Amex Black Card, from different countries, including Switzerland and Brazil, which is a jurisdiction that not many people know about for the Black Amex. But the Brazilian version of the Amex Black Card is able to give you up times 5 points on every dollar spent, and times 7, which is insane, on every dollar spent on travels. So if you're traveling a lot, that gives you like a multiplication factor of 7 on the points, which
And
is
this is when you put the money in the bank, they can invest it or give you some kind of return on it. It's not just sitting in a deposit account, right? There's
absolutely,
obviously
absolutely yes. Mhm.
very cool. Yeah, that's something I found very interesting, and I've already shared with a couple of my clients. Um, Very good. So I'm trying to think of any other quick questions. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about opening bank accounts. Every situation is unique. I know you guys do free consultations. What's it that usually look like to work with you guys? Can you tell me a little bit about how the process works, and if someone wanted to get in contact with you about opening or looking about what bank accounts are an option? I know, self plug, you guys can always go to jamesbakercpa.com/schedule and talk to my team and see what US banks we can potentially help you with, because we're based in the US. We do US stuff, but that's why I have Global Banks on here, because you guys are doing the rest of the world. I'm not going to help you open an account in Switzerland, but that's why I have you on here to share this information. So tell us a little bit about like the process and how you guys operate.
Yeah, definitely. I was mentioning it's over 30 of us right now in the team. We speak many languages, Italian. I personally speak Italian, English, and German. Other people on the team can also speak Spanish, of course, English. So wherever you're coming from, we can support you, most cases also in your language. You just get in contact with our team. The dedicated experts will then be in a call with you, just like the one that we're having now with James. Kind of hear about your background, your story, your needs, if you've had any issues with other banks in the past, kind of see where you're coming from and see where you want to go. So, kind of see what could be a great fit to support the objectives that you have for the future. And then we kind of speak also with the network of banks that we partner up with, to see if it can certainly be a great match and a solution, because of course there's like some aspects of like due diligence and compliance the banks have to make, so we make sure that we kind of try to anticipate the client to the bank, so we have everything in place. And then our dedicated team on the delivery side, that's how we call it, kind of gets all your details and documents, everything that's required for that specific banks. They take care of everything. They speak with the bank. They fulfill all the required application forms and everything, and then you can just enjoy your bank accounts.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing this. We've already done a good amount of time here. Guys, if you're interested in opening a US company, a US account, you can schedule a free call with my team. We'll help you do all the compliance, all the accounts, all the setup, the whole full service thing. We have a great service, been helping a lot of people. And if you want an account outside the US, I encourage you to definitely schedule a free call. Nothing to lose with Global Banks. I'll put a link in the description. Please comment if you have any other questions that you want us to answer. If you have any feedback, anything else, I'll see you guys in the comments. I appreciate you being here, Kiara. So nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching the video.